Hi, I'm Chuck, KK6USY. Welcome to Ham Radio Ventures. So I've done all the build on the phasing units. It's a lot of stuff. I recorded pretty much everything outside of just hooking wires up, which that I would have my hands in the way. You wouldn't be able to see it anyhow. I do have before and after pictures of all that. So I may actually make this 2 videos, a part 1, part 2. I have the first part I build is the controller box that's inside that switches everything back and forth. The second part of the video is the actual box where everything goes inside, that goes outside near the antennas. If I do make it 2 videos, I'll try to get them out within a day or so of each other. There's a lot of editing. I don't know that I'll have to do a lot of editing, but until I haven't seen the footage yet, but I do have like 43 different clips. Some of those are really short, so it sounds like a lot, but it may not be a lot. If it does come out to like 20-25 minutes for the whole thing, then I'll probably just make 1 video. So let's go ahead and check out how the build goes, and I think you guys are gonna like it. It's pretty easy. It's time consuming. You have a lot of prep work and then just some soldering, but nothing's very hard. Let's check it out. Okay, I would try to cut as much out as I can without leaving anything out. This is the bag that we're gonna start with. This is page, I think, 11. So let's open it up and look what's inside real quick. Actually, you know what? You guys can look in the instructions and you can see with the parts. I'll just bring the parts out as I put them together, okay? Okay, so John does advise putting some tape. This is painter's tape. He says blue tape, painter tape, the same thing. This is just what I happen to have. So I'm going to start in the middle and kind of work my way out. This is the first step in here, and basically you need to make sure that, like this one goes here, you need to make sure that this part goes to the outside. If you look at the picture, basically the holes are in, these holes, and the other holes are out, okay? So that's where your wires are going to connect. Probably the most important thing of this whole part of this. And I've gone 2 different directions here. I just took painter's tape and cut it so it wasn't so bulky, because the stuff I had was like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches probably. So, because you have to be able to turn this over. All right. And I did try to make sure that mine was nice and straight. And I did cover my holes. Hang on. Okay, so I've got these little deals here. It doesn't have enough holes to get it really good because it only has the 2 major holes, but that will actually hold it pretty good. And what I'll probably do is just try to push these over just a little bit. I may put some pressure on the first one also. It looks like looks pretty tight. You just want to make sure it's kind of tight to the body. Kind of hard to do. And mine is tight with the tape, so I'm gonna start soldering. And I did change my tip only because I wanted a smaller tip. And you want to tin this probably first. And then basically what you want to do is you want to touch the pad. Heat both pieces up. I may not have mine hot enough. You should have like a little Hershey's Kiss is what he says. I'm going to do the other side. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it looks like a little Hershey's Kiss there. I'm going to actually give this one just a little bit more. Okay. What you don't want to do is bridge between the 2 sides. You can kind of see it suck it in. And I'm no expert at this, guys. I've done this a few times. I may not have it quite hot enough, but I think I do. He gives temperatures in the instructions. Mine has numbers. It doesn't have temperatures. I think I will turn mine up just a little bit. You just don't want to have to be there too long. Okay, so that's the first one. So basically I'm going to do all these exactly the same. So I'll probably cut here and then I'll show you the finished product. I just wanted to show one thing, and that was on this one here. I did use this middle piece to tape the other 2 to. I just got done soldering it, and they're They're not straight, but they're good enough, I guess. I'm not real happy about that. Probably should have run the tape across the back too. All right, last one. So let's just pull this off here. I did have to adjust a few things there. Now, one thing, just after doing the first ones here, the first thing I would do is make sure that these are tight to the board. I had to redo one of them when I taped all of them together. That probably wasn't the best thing, but they should be fairly tight to the board. And just kind of look at all your solders. You should have a nice little Hershey's Kiss on there, which I do. So this part should be done. So we'll move on to the next part. Now, the one thing I did want to mention is all these need to be pointed to the outside so you can get to them. And this side goes the other way. If you look at the screws, should go to the outsides, okay, of the board. So if you had one going this way, it would probably go that way also, but that's the way it should look there. And that's the way the picture is. Pictures, to me, actually work good, really good. So I like the pictures, the good pictures he has in the instructions. So you have to cut these 4 wires. You have a white, blue, red, and black, and cut those at 4 inches. He wants you to 10 each side of these wires. I'm also, he doesn't say this in the instructions that I saw. It might be there. I also 10 these because I do these switches like this a lot for my CW keys. And if you just get in there and put a little, you just move it just a little bit, and it puts a nice little solder spot in there. If you see this one right here in the instructions, I think that says CH, which would put positive here, which is black, negative here, which is white, and on the other two, he tells you which ones, and I'll just match what he has on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do those, and I'll show it to you when I'm done. Now, what I did find that makes it a little bit easier, this nut on here has square edges, and you can kind of line up where you want it. And I'm going to show you how I do this. Basically, this is the negative side. I'm going to place it on top. I'm just going to bring some heat down to it. It melted, and then just don't move it. Let it set, and then just kind of give it a little tug, and you should be good. All right, that's what I'm doing. Let me finish this up. Okay, that's what this should look like when you're done. I use the CH or whatever that was in there. Yeah, CH upside down. The red one goes to the top, the blue one goes to the bottom, and then positive, negative. Okay, and that's what John has. On to the next step. So this is the GX16, GX16 6-pole aircraft connector, and it just basically comes apart like this. The screw comes off, it's a tight fit, and it just comes out. So I'm going to separate the two, all right, and then we're going to put same thing again. I cut all these wires to 4 inches. I tinned them all, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to do in here yet. I may tin these and then just slip them in as I heat them, or I may just solder them in as I go. I'm going to see what he says to do. I'll get back to you, and I'll be right back, and we'll decide what we're going to do here. Okay, quickly, these wires. So red goes to pin 1, black to pin 2, green to pin 3, white to pin 4, blue to pin 5, and brown to pin 6. Now I'm going to have to figure out which is which, and the writing's on there. You can read it. Like this is 2, this is 6 in the middle, I think. I assume this is 1. Yeah, you can read them all. So I'm going to solder them all in, and I'll probably leave one at the end and show you how I do it. Now, this might be a little hard to see in the picture, but I'll try to get a close-up of it later. I'm going to start with the center pin, which is pin 6, and that's the brown wire, only because it's easier probably to get to right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tin. We're going to try this way first. I'm going to tin this. He also states some kind of fan. I'm just going to stick this in the hole, and then I'm going to come down and touch it so it's in there. And now I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to try and get underneath it, heat it, and then slip this in there. Hold it there so it cools. Give it a little tug, and that's good. That's why I'm going to do them all, and so I'll be back. Okay, if I was able to get the wire to go in without solder first, that's the way I did it. Then allow me to hold it, melt the solder, and then it's in there. But I also went ahead and, so now it's inside a little bit, and now I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of solder on it. And just kind of do a little quick thing there, and it gets a nice little blob on there. So that's the way I did it. I got one left, and I'll be done with this. Okay, so make sure that you give every one of them a little tug there. You don't have to pull super hard, just enough to make sure it's in. Now, I will put a link on the description for this kit that I have here. Is the Helping Hands. It had this nice little thing, and this actually works really good for this, because what I did is I turned each one up to where I could see it really well. And I do believe putting that first one in the middle is the way to go. I'm going to see if I can tap on this. Okay, there's kind of a close-up of it, guys. And it should look something like that. Okay, step 4. We are doing the preparation of the selector switch socket. And I believe this is page 18. So here's the selector switch. Has 8 wires that go to it. This is the actual socket that goes to it. I think this is what he's talking about. See, black LED negative, green is the common, blue normally closed, and white normally open. So that would be these wires here he's talking about. So we got the blue, the green, and there is 2 blues, so I'm going to figure out which is which. So on this is positive, this is negative. Closed, normally open, normally closed. And that's what he's talking about. And these are all pre-wired on this, and they're going to plug in, I believe, like this. So these are going to go where they go, because they're already pre-wired into this socket. And the socket looks like it goes on like this. I am having a little problems getting mine on. I think I may have to adjust a few things. Basically, I think what he's doing is separating the wires. If instructions, I don't have those up to be able to show you guys, but it's showing it like this. And basically, he's just, looks like he's taking these wires on this side and these wires on this side and separating them like this. Yeah, because the red would be over here, and that's where it's at. And then you have a white and a blue and a green. And then over here you have the black, which is only one of those, and then the other 3 colors. Okay, so that's how he separated them right there. So that's how they separate like that. All right, so that you guys can see that and how that orients to this. So the switch would be setting like this. Okay, and that's how that plugs in there. And that's how those line up. Okay, now basically he says trim 1.5 inches off. What I did is I just measured from this point to this point 4 inches, because that's what he says you need at the end. And then you need to take each one of these wires, strip them, and he's stripping these about back to here. Okay, so about a 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch, something like that. He doesn't specify that, so I guess it doesn't really matter. They're probably going into these, so you just need enough to get in there. You don't want too much, but you want enough. So I'm going to go ahead and strip all this stuff down and then tin all this stuff up and have it ready to go. All right, so I've got all the wires cut to 4 inches. I separate them. He also says to separate the blue side, or the white side and the black side, and I just put a little tape around each side, you can see right there. Then I tinned all of these. This will work fine. That's why he has you solder them so they're a little stiffer and easier to put in. Okay, so now we're going to do the LEDs. And what's nice is this side's already done for you. You just have to strip these back. He wants you to strip these back 1 inch, fold it over itself, and fold the bare wire on itself to create a larger conductor. Basically, you're going to do a couple of times over. You still want to probably leave you about a 1/4 inch, but you want to make these things so they're a little thicker, and that's all we're doing here, because this wire is super, super thin. All right, so I'm going to do those, and I'll bring those back. Let me move this out of the way here, and there we go. So there's what they look like. There's 3 of those. So I'm gonna get those done. Basically, all we're doing is preparing all the parts to eventually install in the box. One other tip, when you do take these off with your fingernail, before you pull the end of the insulation all the way off, don't pull it all the way off and twist this, because this little wire is hard to do, and just kind of just pull it a little farther and just keep twisting as you pull it off. And once you get it to a point, you can just pull it off and finish twisting it. But that'll get most of it up. And what I end up doing is halving it over and then half it over one more time and then solder it. Make it kind of as uniform as you can, like that. Put just a little solder on there, get it underneath there, and then just draw it through. Okay, so here is the front panel. The one thing this one doesn't really matter, just get it tight. This one's a little harder to get straight because you want this arrow pointing up, and you also want this in the middle position when it's up like that. Okay, so broadside would be the middle, E1, and then E2. So that's what you want to get, and there's what it looks like in the back. He does say to use a little blue Loctite. It would be nice, and this is not John's fault, but if they had made these with like a square edge so it didn't turn. But he has to use what he has to use, so that's not his fault. Okay, the last part of step 6 is to put this socket on here, and he says to make sure the blue wires are at the top, which mine are. And what I would do with this is before you put it in here, make sure you get it on there first. I had to adjust mine just a little bit and then got it on. And basically what you want it to do is lock right here. This little lock locks it on there for you. We're getting close to putting this thing together. So the next part is to take these 3, let's see, where's my third one? It's right here. We're going to take our 3 LEDs and insert them along with these. These are the little sockets that go in there. Insert them into the front of the board also. Okay. Let me see if it says insert the LED sockets into the pre-drilled holes with the top on the outside of the panel. So basically you want to put them in from this direction, I believe is what he's saying there, like that. So we're going to insert all 3 of those, and then there's the far right one, or the middle one, excuse me. And there we go. It says insert the E1 from the rear of the panel, the socket. Make sure it seats to an audible click. So we're going to put this in here. And I just felt it. I felt it. I didn't really hear it. But if I have to, I'll put just a little bit of hot glue or something on the back of that to hold them. Make sure they're not going to go anywhere because you're not going to do anything with it once it's all installed. So that's how those look on the back. And hard to show you the front. There's the front. They're all right there. And they're just sticking out just a little bit. Okay, so I read farther down, and John does optional hot glue on the rear of the socket to ensure the LEDs stay in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've got this little battery operated one. This stuff is a little messy, guys, a little stringy, but it works really good. So I'm going to put some right there. There we go. And I'm going to put some right there. Same thing here. And that should hold that. And one back here, I'm just going to put a little on the edge of each one of these, and that might hold those from turning. The nice thing about hot glue is it's pretty easy to get off if you have to. And this thing, it's a Go Ganova. I really like this. It heats up super fast. There it is there. You can see it. And you just recharge it every once in a while, and it lasts for quite a while. Comes with plenty of glue sticks. I've never run out so far. So, all right, on the next step. This is the back of the panel, the back of the box, and so this one is a 12-volt input. This one's pretty easy. He says you use a little blue Loctite. I don't have any right now, but if it becomes a problem, I'll go back into it. Now on this one, he says to make sure this notch I've got it upside down is down like that. See, then it may be hard to see, but there's a notch in there. And one thing that he didn't really state in his thing, there's like a little O-ring, but it's metal. Look at this nut. This side looks normal. This side seems to have like a little recess for that. So I'm going to put that down towards the back and towards this, okay? And I'm going to tighten it as tight as I can get it. And maybe for now, I might go back with the hot glue gun again, like I did before. with the other parts. And I will say on that front piece, be careful. You might, if you do like I did and use glue, hot glue gun, you might put them to the inside, not to the top of the board. I got one of them that looked like it just a little close, and I just cut it off with I got a nice little X-Acto knife for that. But so that goes down over that. Okay. And like I said, he wants this little nub down. And then we'll be on to final assembly. So let me tighten these up and we'll get on to that. Now we're going to install the PCB board into this. This is the other one. And if you guys look at these, there's a notch that's up and then there's a notch that goes down. In the bottom here, this is where the PCB board goes, is the notch, and it just slides in. It slides in very nice. I'll show you that right here. It's just in here. It's not super, super tight, but I think once the wires get in there, that'll all hold it. I probably am going to install the parts and then show it to you. It should be fairly easy. Everything's marked on here. Basically now just putting the puzzle together. I'm going to put the puzzle together and I'll show you, because my hands will be in the way anyhow. What you'll need is a nice little small screwdriver to loosen and tighten these. So let me put this together and then I'll bring it back and show you, and we'll just, this is going to be hard to film. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll put it together and then show it to you later. All right, so I went ahead and I connected the power switch. So it's red, white, black, blue. Everything's in the pictures. Just be careful when you tighten these down. Now I've got these are nice little screwdrivers. They're like what they call precision little screwdrivers. I got these at Home Depot. Basically just put that in there and you put your finger on top and just tighten them till they're really snug, and then give everything a little tug when you get done. So now I'm going to install these 8, and then I assume these 6. And if you guys notice, let me push it a little farther over for you. I oriented the red to the left, black to the right as I'm looking at it on all 3 of those LEDs. I don't know if it'll make a difference, but it just made sense to me. All right, let me finish wiring this side up. All right, so kind of be hard to see, but right there, you guys look. Remember I separated the wires, the black side and the red side. The black side is the negative side, the red side is the positive side. So I marked that on there because when you hook these wires, you need to know which is positive, which is negative. And like I said, with these, I would probably have shortened these an inch. It didn't say to, but actually they do fit in there really nice. And I think this is all going to have to get pushed back eventually. But everything went together really nice. Like I said, if you mark these positive, negative, that will help you when you do these. Each one's marked. It says positive, positive, then negative, negative. And you just look at each one. It's clearly labeled in the instructions. So I think the next step will be to install the wires on this side. Here is everything put together. So when you're putting these wires in, be conscious of how they're routed so that it looks nice when you get done and everything kind of goes. I separated these two. He's got the two together. I think it just looks better that way, but that's me. That doesn't matter. It's not going to change how it works or anything. I think the next part is testing everything to make sure we got it right. So I think that's where I'll go next. Okay, so I got the lights off, guys, just to see. So you can see, you should be able to see that the power is lit and the broadside is lit. So now he says to go to E1, that lights up. E2, that lights up. So that's the first test. And that all works. With the voltmeter, check that there is 12 volts between pins 1 and 6. Okay, so I'm going to switch this. We know we have power. You guys can see the red light. Now I'm going to switch it to the left. Oops. Okay, and that is E1. Here's our voltmeter. On E1, I need to touch pin 6. So it's 6 and 1. I may have it backwards, I don't know, but we should get 13 volts. So that's minus, so basically it's this way. So you should get 12 volts, whatever you have hooked to it. I have a lithium battery hooked to it, so it's 13.26, so that's good. Now we're going to turn it to the center position, back where we were. Okay, and the middle light's on now. And we're going to check between 2 and 5. So there's I don't know which way we're counting. There's 2 and there's 5, and we have minus 13 again, so we should have 12 volts again. Now we're going to go to the right, so this LED's on now, so everything's working like it should so far. And between 3 and 4 we should have 12 volts. You can see, yeah, 3 and 4. So this time I'll actually go down and see which ones he's saying is 3. So it's the 2 middle ones. I don't really care if it's backwards or not. And so we're minus 15. So that one's right. That one's right. So far our voltage tests are right. Now I also did check. This one's easy because we know red is on this side. This is your power in if you weren't getting power. That's the first place you'd check. But I checked that because that's an easy one to figure out. That's your power in. Basically now I'm just going to go ahead and put the top on this, and this is done. So stage 1 done. Okay, I think I will make this 2 videos. It's pretty long, and sometimes, I know my attention span is not the greatest sometimes, so I will get the second one out here pretty quick. If you're not subscribed to the channel already and you want to see content like this and you want to see the rest of this build, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit all that way. You'll get all my future videos. I'm Chuck, KK6USY 73 all, and hope to catch you guys on the airways.